Hey, welcome to the Loud Thumbs podcast. We're back again for some games, movies, entertainment, and adult beverages. I'm not drinking any adult beverages today, but that's all right. I'll save them for later. I guess another episode will do that.
Yeah, it's all right. And I should have. But recently I found a grapefruit hibiscus tequila that is the shit. It's very good.
Oh, nice, nice. Sounds florally and fruity.
It
All right,
is.
we are going to get started with this episode today. We're going to have topic episode is going to be most anticipated games. So that'll be fun. We did do one earlier, so I don't want that to be like confusing. We kind of did an overall most anticipated games of 2022, just kind of what the world is anticipating, as well as us. But we are going to do more of a drilled down, like what game are we most
Yeah.
anticipating? So, and a couple real quick updates for everybody. You can hear us on a few more things now. We have some new podcast platforms. I've ventured out and just said, hey, I'm going to take them over. So we're spreading
Hell
loud
yeah.
thumbs all around. We have Amazon now, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn. So if you have any friends that use those platforms, hey, say, hey, take a listen to these guys. They're pretty badass and you can listen to us free. Hey, go for it. It's good stuff. Not to mention you can do that whole, hey, Alexa, listen to the Loud Thumbs podcast and she'll play our sweet, sexy, sultry voices.
So fucking cool.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We're going to do a little bit of general talking, but before we get too deep, I did just finish up the state of play. So Josh did not have a chance to completely catch up and watch that one today with his schedule.
Nope. Did not get on time.
I started it 12 minutes late, and then I just rewound it and started from the beginning because I got off work at exactly the time it started, and I'm driving, so I don't tend to watch YouTube and drive. Probably shouldn't be doing that out there if you are right now, guys. I mean,
Not quite.
hello, but I don't want to be the last thing you see. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
stay safe. But the state of play, I was completely underwhelmed. It did nothing for me hardly. It was worse than Nintendo Direct. It was a very niche state of play. Very, very niche.
Okay.
I would give this
Okay.
a straight D. Like, I mean, it was not good.
Okay.
There were just a new Dino Crisis, I'm not interested in. New Gundam game, not really. I mean, It's not my cup of joe. The coolest things, just to lean into those, because those are what I give a shit about, right? Is they did show a far more content for Forspoken, finally.
Can't wait to see that.
It's dope as fuck. I can't wait for it. I know they delayed it, which that's fine, and we'll discuss that game a little bit more later as well in our most anticipated. So slight spoilers. We'll see who that is for. But I know it was delayed till October. I'm happy for that. There's too many games to play right now.
Yeah.
It's overload right now. It's way overload, so I'm
It's
okay
too
with it.
much. Yeah.
And it looks incredible. So the fact that it's getting delayed 6 months-ish is really good news for it, because I don't want problems like some recent games I would talk about. But that was the big one, other than they had a small title that was the Ninja Turtles are getting a Cowabunga collection, which is kind of like all of the old school stuff. So all of it's like 8-bit, 16-bit, and they're bringing it all for even Game Boy. It looks like what they're doing is kind of like, which I actually just talked about it on one of the Power Up bars, is a Disney Afternoon collection, but it's all Ninja Turtles. It's kind of like they're doing that again. And they're just taking them and throwing them into a new kit and just say, here, pick them all up. There was a bunch of games, man. I mean, it kept flashing games up on the screen. I couldn't keep track of all of them. I want to say there's probably 8 of them, maybe more.
Damn. Okay.
So it was a lot. And I'm cool with that because, they did delay our Shredder's Revenge a little bit. So maybe they'll come out at the same time. Who knows? But it feels like this is going to be something first, and then later you'll have Shredder's Revenge.
Tide you over. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. A little taste. And then they did have Returnal, which I don't know. Josh over there doesn't have enough time to play games, I don't think, with me. But it's getting co-op, so it's going to have a full campaign co-op, and then there is
so cool
add-on. They're adding on the it's called Ascension. It's some sort of what that looks like, because they kept it pretty, I don't know, to the chest. I don't think they show all of what they're talking about. Is Celine just over voiceovering the whole thing, talking about she's going to continue to go to the top over and over and over. What it looks like to me is it looks like God of War, the OG ones, had like an elevator sort of thing. It was like as it continued its way further and further down or up, I don't remember which way it went, you had to keep fighting enemies. And this seems like you're ascending up a tower of some kind, and you have to keep fighting enemies as you keep going up the tower. It's like new dungeon, fight,
so
up further,
cool.
fight.
Okay.
So it just seems kind of like I mean, I can't remember the names of all of them, but the just like kind of a horde mode, or, you know, a little bit with story involved as well, it seems like. But the co-op is the only thing I'm interested in, and I'm only interested in that if Josh is going to play with me, because I have nobody else in my life that has a PS5 and Returnal with any time that can play. So
yeah,
so I will not pick that up until Josh says, "Hey, let's play." So it's kind of on my radar, but then again, it's kind of not, because I'm not the one who's going to play that on my own. I think a co-op version of that sounds amazing. That was it for me. That was the gist of it. The rest of it was just a bunch of stuff. I mean, they showed Ghostwire Tokyo again, which looks cool, and they fleshed it out a little bit more. It looks neat, but I'm like, nah, I'm not going to jump into another game right now. There are too many games.
Oh man, it is the season for games right now. You are not wrong, with some heavy hitters. Like, I want to play Elden Ring so bad, but I gotta beat Horizon. I can't just like split the two, I guess. Gran Turismo looks very cool. It just recently dropped, I think.
I have that game too. So yes, I'm running into problems with time. Yeah, I actually have to thank a good friend of mine, Xbox friend of many years ago. I played Destiny with, Lisa, hooked me up with a copy of that, and I really wanted it. She came in clutch at the last minute, and no shit, like within hours of the point I was going to buy it, and said, "Hey, how about this?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah, thank you. That's awesome. I can't say thank you enough." She's kind of in the same problem as all of us, with just too many games to play, and that would have been super, super high hanging fruit that she wasn't going to go chase.
Yeah, I hear you.
And there's a lot of bullshit going on with Gran Turismo as well in the news, which we'll talk about a little bit. It's just, yeah, I really want to talk and get your opinion on it as well. I would love to hear the loud crowd's opinion on it too, but I have mine, and that's the only one I can really go by right now. Yeah, there's so many games, man. It's killing me right now. I can vouch for the fact that there is no way in hell you can play both Horizon and Elden Ring at the same time. You can't do it.
No, they're way too involved. Way too involved.
And not just that, as the controls are totally fucking different, man. There's just no way. There's no way.
Switching between the two, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, involved goes with it, but there is way too many, like, differences in battle, and your brain cannot do it. You're not going to go to Elden Ring, which I'm not the Souls guy, and I'm seeing if I can adapt to it over 2022 or not. But I've tried. I have literally sat down and went, okay, shut down the Horizon and jump into Elden Ring, and it just doesn't work. It doesn't work because the dodging's different. The actual melee is different. There's blocking in Elden Ring. You do not block in Horizon. So it really, really affects. You die a lot more in Elden Ring. I mean, just to be honest, like you expect to be faster. You expect more, ability to fire on things, or, different weapons to use. And
right.
So, a small nick tip is if you have both of them, and like me, like an idiot, just don't expect to swap. You're never going to happen. And the reason I bought it, for everybody listening, is I didn't want to fall into the same problem that happened with Returnal. Like, I'm literally at the will of other people if I'm going to play Returnal. Like, if somebody said, "Hey, sit down, play it. You can't play anything else. I'll pay you for it." Then I would go play it right now. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Or co-op, comes out and you say, "Hey, you know what? I got a hankering again. Let's go through it again." But that was because I just sat too long and waited and like saw everybody bitching about it and all these problems. And I went, no, I am not going to do it. And it was still a great game. Still had really good reviews, and people talked really highly about it, but it wasn't enough for me to go ahead and do it. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to pick up Elden Ring. I will have it then. And, I'm going to just play it and see. So I gave it a chance to see if it could take away any attention from Horizon. And is a clear, and I want to know from you, when you do finally play it,
Right.
I want to know if it was a clear cut answer that Horizon is just my game. Like it's just that style. Like it's the game I would prefer to play over the two
Sure. Yeah.
because it is mine. Like Horizon is, it's got the
Uh.
story, it's got the
Oof.
characters, it's
Boy,
got the
does it have the
world,
story.
the
Yeah.
gameplay. I mean, all of it is so much better than Elden Ring for me. I mean, it has its fans,
Yeah, and it's a
and
totally different style. Yeah.
I can't say anything about Elden Ring yet. I can just say that right now in the 1 hour, because I checked my timing today, in the 1 hour that I have played Elden Ring,
Uh-huh.
I have played 30 hours of Horizon. So I mean that's just the transition of it. I had a week's longer with Horizon than I have Elden Ring because I did buy them both day one, but I didn't get 30 hours in day one or the week one, you know, like I've still been playing
Right,
Elden Ring
right.
or Horizon. I've been playing for 2 weeks now. So it just has my flow of a game that I enjoy overall that I can see. Now, I guess the biggest thing, if I'm just going to keep talking between a Souls game, a Souls game and a non-Souls game, because I mean that's Horizon's not a Souls game, is you can't compare them at all. Like I'm not going to compare them
It's a very
one to
particular
one.
style.
I'm not going to
Yeah.
do it. I'm not even going to do them 1 to 70 or whatever. Like you just cannot compare them because they are completely different games. And my brain started thinking about this a little bit more. And it's like if someone wants to play a driving game, they have to like driving games first. Like that's the number one thing. If they don't like a driving game, then you're stupid to even try and have them play it or talk about it or anything because you know it's just
Sure,
going to be
sure.
bad experience
Yeah.
overall. So what I'm trying to do is convert myself with no help from anybody else. Um, and not that I hate, or dislike Souls games. It's
Uh-huh.
just that I don't get their formula yet. I don't understand it. I know the formula of a GTA. I know the formula of a God of
Yeah, that's
War. I
fair.
know the
Yeah.
formula of a Horizon. I know all of those things because let's be honest, Souls-like games are pretty new. Like they have not been around 30 years, 20 years, they've been around a
Yeah.
decade and a half ish, and
Yeah,
let's,
about 12, 13 years. Yeah.
yeah. And if we're being more honest, like they really haven't taken off until probably the last 5 years where people went, oh, damn, they make more of these. I'm going to go back to the backlog and play them. So they have existed. But as far as like being in like what I would consider mainstream being talked about, I mean, clearly Elden Ring made it the biggest, jump, but
Right.
it's not worth my brain going, oh, I'll jump right into this and play it because I don't know the formula of a Souls game. I will have to start completely fresh. And honestly, what I'm kind of doing is I'm kind of giving myself that time right now when I'm jumping back and forth to just learn, knowing I'm going to fuck up, and I can use the fact that I'm
Oh,
playing
yeah.
Horizon as a crutch as to why I'm fucking up. Like because Horizon is totally different. So when I jump
It
into
is.
Souls right now and I keep dying, or Elden Ring, whatever you want to say, and I keep dying, I have another excuse. Like not that I just suck, it's just that I'm playing another game that's completely different. So then it makes it easier for me to continue to keep dying and keep trying the game over and over because I still have something fun to jump back to. That does help me. I will completely say that. I
You
don't
gotta
think a lot of
know.
I don't
Yeah, you
think a lot
gotta
of
know
people
when
do
to
that.
stop.
Well, yeah,
Souls
but
games are so hard. Like the amount of times I've become tilted playing a Souls game is stupid. And why my wife every time is like, "Why do you even play? You just get so mad at this game." I don't know. I'm still having fun, I guess. He's like, I can't wait to get back. But yeah, Souls games have like a completely different pacing. It's not like I'm sure Elden Ring is truly open world, but what Souls game can you just freely explore? None. Like you have to be slow. You got to be methodical. You got to watch where you're at. Find new enemies. Sometimes you get ambushed and you get yeeted off a cliff.
yeah,
That's how it goes. And then oh, I need to roll past this spot and not just walk past this spot. Dying is a part of the game. Sometimes it's frustrating. Sometimes it's hilarious. Sometimes you lose a bunch. Sometimes you lose absolutely nothing. Um, it's just kind of part of it. And if you can just kind of take those deaths in stride, be like, all right, well, I lost 2,000 souls. That sucks ass, but game's farmable. I can maybe make it back and get my souls back. But
Yeah, what I'm leaning more toward though too, I mean, those are all valid points as well. We've discussed on the show prior. I'm leaning toward the fact that if I'm frustrated, I immediately have a fun game I can go play. It takes away the frustration
oh
more.
yeah, for sure, for
And
sure.
that's what I don't think people talk about that enough, to be honest with you. Like I lately, obviously every podcast, including the one you're listening to right now, is doing nothing but talking about Horizon and Elden Ring and Gran Turismo and everything. But what they're not talking about is they're not talking about what they do when they get pissed off. Like they're just saying like, I'm going to break a controller. I'm going to chuck it. I'm going to get pissed. I'm going to stop playing it. But what do you do when that happens? Like literally, what do you change? A lot of people like, I just put it down. I just stop playing, but they don't say what they go do. I'm going to tell you right now what I'm going to do. After I beat Horizon and then I focus on Elden Ring and I get upset, I'm going to go play Gran Turismo 7. That's what I'm going to do because I can go to a Gran Turismo game, any driving game, honestly.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be good at it. Like I just am. Like and it's not like that I'm like cheating at the game or whatever. Like it's still gonna be a challenge, but I know how to drive a car and I know how to play video games, and I'm just gonna throw those two together. I do not know how to kill a 75-foot tall monster and carry around a 70-pound axe and armor in the lands between. You know, I just can't. I just don't know how. But that's because I've played car games too for a very long time, and I enjoy a lot of them. And they also have Gran Turismo to where I've been talking about Gran Turismo a while because they've pushed Forza back a lot, but it's a simulation driver. So on purpose, it's made to be more difficult, and you can make it challenging and more challenging if you'd like to take away all those things. You have to, pay attention to everything. You have to check camber and caster and toe on your alignment, and you have to check your tire wear, and you have to check pressures on your. Yeah, it gets deep, but I like it. I enjoy that. So
it's crunchy. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like I can step away from something that like maybe is beyond where I can go as a gamer right now, but I'll get there and go into a world of like, I can live here all day long. I'm good. I'll be fine. That kind of thing. And I want to be able to do that. So I think it's a big deal to have, for me, this is just me, man. Like, so, yeah. But I think it's good advice to give to the listeners that say, hey, if you're frustrated with something, have a backup that's super fucking fun to go into and just forget about what just happened and, move on. Like, and instead of going to bed angry or, whatever the case is, maybe that's the story I hear from everybody. Like I'm up till 2 a.m. and then I die and then I go to sleep and I wake up at like, 3:30 and I'm like, oh, I could do this. And then I get out of bed and go play I'm not that style. Like I'm not going to get out and go defeat somebody after an hour and a half of going to sleep. But I just like, okay, I get it, but for me, I would be the type to be like, okay, I'm just going to go do something else. Takes my mind completely off of it. And I do know that is some people just get up and they're done. They don't even want to play video games at all anymore. Like it's ruined that whole thing for them. But I didn't expect it and that was kind of an experiment that I did on my own where I bought both of these games within a week of each other. And I'm like, I'm going to try them both out. And I want to see which way one hits me. Maybe Elden Ring being open world and, everything else along with it will do something to pull me away from Horizon. And unbeknownst during that experiment, I realized this is a better way to do a Souls game. Instead of just being pissed off at what all happened, have something to jump to that you can still play, It's just a shame that the PS5 doesn't have like a resume mode like the Xbox does.
Oh, yeah.
That would be really, really good if it did. But that's okay. I can go to a place and save an Elden Ring and then jump GTA or GT7 and then jump right back into Elden Ring later. Load times aren't hardly anything, like a minute. So whoop-de-doo. But I just think that's something kind of came to mind that I didn't expect from this little experiment that I've been doing to myself. So
yeah, I am fully one of those people. Like once I get fully tilted playing a Souls-like, I'm just kind of done for at least a minute. If I switch to something else, it's like opposite. It is chill as hell. Like I'm playing Pokemon. Like I don't want anything too involved. I done something I know I can do, something that's kind of relaxing. Maybe we'll play Civilization or something. But playing, I'm not like a prolific Souls player, but I've played a good chunk, and so it does take me probably a good few hours to get to that point. But I do recognize like, okay, I'm playing worse because I have lost all focused, and I'm pissed. So like I need to like take a moment, cool down, watch an episode of The Office, something, and maybe come back later, maybe be done for the night. Depends on what I'm playing.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's just the more of the differences in the two of us. That's part of it. But I was surprised with myself, honestly. I didn't expect that to be, kind of proof of, putting myself through all that. And I'm like, this makes a huge difference for me. So that is a good sign for me when it comes to moving into the Souls world, because I'll be even more, understanding, I guess would be part of the words. But
yeah,
I'll be easily pulled right back into something else that's not a big deal. Go right back. I mean, I could see myself leaving Elden Ring to go play Hollow Knight, which technically they're kind of the same. But that's because they're different style gameplay. Yeah, completely different. And I know I can be good at Hollow Knight. Like I've slowly gained confidence in that game. And that would be the same thing that would happen in Elden Ring. It's just you can kind of do it at your own pace. I think that's probably part of the problem. And obviously focusing on the game, which I'd mentioned, bouncing back and forth from Horizon to Elden Ring, just can't do it. But if you're focusing on just that mechanic and you're switching complete mechanics, so, I mean, Hollow Knight's a good example. Gran Turismo is a good example. If you move from one fighting game to another fighting game that has completely, and let's say you go from Street Fighter to Tekken, right? And they have completely different combos. That's going to fuck your head. You're just going to fuck your head up. Like you're done. Completely different. And that's what it is. I could see myself playing Hollow Knight and Elden Ring and Gran Turismo and Grand Theft Auto all at the same time, because they're not the same kind of games. They're just completely different games with completely different mechanics.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of like the discussion I'm trying to have, is that if you play a game that you can bounce off of that's not like what you're playing, you're going to just wipe your slate clean so much better. Like you said, Pokemon, and I mean, your example's perfect as well. You're just pointing and clicking and running and, fighting. Like there's like slight button presses once in a while. There's not like, there's nothing timing.
It's not intense. It's turn based. I don't have to quickly react to anything. I just got to make smart choices. I'm good at smart choices.
Yeah, exactly. And then you can make those choices in your own time. You don't have to be, perfect when you make that choice,
Exactly.
So for me, this has been fun. I've been enjoying playing, the 3 games I've been playing, which I've mentioned, and I am going to stop with Elden Ring for now because I am completely stuck in Horizon's world right now. And I'm hoping to beat it within a week or so, and we'll bring a review. That's the plan. And we'll talk about it. So that'll be a great time. I'm excited to do that. But those are pretty much everything I've been playing. How about yourself, sir? Anything on top of Horizon or?
Mainly just Horizon. I've caught up a little bit in hours. To you, I'm 24, 25 hours now.
All right, cool.
Still doing every side quest I can possibly do, upgrading weapons and armor and whatnot. Side quests are still really, really good. It's still a lot of fun to hunt down new creatures when you come across them. I have bumped my difficulty up to hard and have gotten my ass kicked many more times. I have a really bad habit in Horizon of seeing a thing that's huge and wanting to fight it, and I'm under leveled to fight it, and I die in like a hit or two. But I'm like, I can do it. I just have to not get hit at any point with this thing's massive health bar. So, I tried to fight a Thunderjaw fruitlessly for about an hour, and eventually I had to call it quits. Usually I don't. And I was like, I'm going to do it. I got this. I'm going to do it. Nah, when he kills you in one hit and he's not slow.
No.
The fun factor kind of lost after a minute. Like, when I realized he's still quite fast, even though he's quite huge.
Yeah. Yeah, I ran out of arrows for the first time. So I've also done the same thing. Just tackled something far too large. I ran out of arrows. I don't remember what they called the wood.
Like Ridgewood?
Ridgewood, yes. I ran out of the Ridgewood. So I was no more making arrows for me.
Holy cow.
And I'm like, well, shit. So I'll just switch to something else that I have for right now. I did actually beat it. But I mean, I was fucking wiped. Like I had nothing left in my stat or my,
Holy
all my
cow,
pouches.
dude. That's a lot of
I
resources.
don't remember what I was fighting. He was a giant ass thing near the beach. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna fight this thing. It had a tail. It came up and it looked like a whale's tail, and it would like shoot out like 10 lasers, like purple lasers at you.
Nope, haven't fought that yet.
And then it had the same thing. It would shoot. I want to say it shot out of its back, because it was a hectic fight. I was just trying not to die, but they shot up out of its back into the sky, and then they would like rain down on you, and it would like glow this purple lightning.
Okay.
And it sucked because you didn't know where they were going to land. There was no like detection, no shadow, because it's just energy. Makes sense. There's not shadow and energy. That would just hit the ground and just fuck me up. So yeah, I ran out of stuff fast in that one. Finally beat it though with my what was the spikes, like the spears you throw into them, they just keep chewing them up. I tore them up with those. I can't remember the name of that stuff. Drawing blanks
I know
right
what
now.
you're talking about. It's like the Karja weapon.
Yeah.
It's just the little spinning things. You gotta catch it when it comes back.
No, not that. No, these were
Okay.
These are like you throw like an actual spike into it, and the spikes I have do like constant damage.
Oh, you've told me that. I have not seen that yet, but
yeah, those are pretty cool. So they did they helped me out a lot, because without those I might have been toast. But yeah, fighting shit that's too big for your own good. I have that in common with you. So yeah, I have seen a Thunderjaw, and when I saw him, I said no, because it was just way too early, and I was just having fun and inspiring myself, going around the map. And I said, nah, I got to back off. I can't fight him right now.
Yeah, I saw him like, oh, he was pretty late game last time.
He was, yeah.
I don't know. I know how to fight him. Bet you I can do it now. One tail swipe, you're done. And his tail swipe is like a half-mile radius.
Yeah.
It's insanely hard to
He's
dodge.
a big boy. Yeah, so Horizon for sure. Hopefully we'll get through that in time and be able to bring that review to you not too many episodes from now. That'll be great.
Yeah.
Super quick. I mean, I mentioned Gran Turismo. I do want to say, though, one other thing before we move on is the DualSense. They have made it to where you can actually use the DualSense as a steering wheel, which is, I think, cool as shit. Okay, so I'm going to use a really terrible example because this is like beyond how good this used to be. But it's like the Mario Kart game on the Wii, where you can literally play.
That's the parallel I was drawing. Yep.
Okay. That is a terrible example to use for this because of how good this is compared to that. Oh my God.
Really?
Oh
really?
Yeah. You can also button map pretty much anything you want in the ways you like. So accessibility is great. So you can move the clutch and you can move, your brake and your, gas and everything kind of wherever you want to. I just left it at a couple of the defaults, but it feels really good to turn on the 6-axis or, the full DualSense motion to where you hold the controller and you steer like you steer a car, like you have a little mini steering wheel in your hand. And
that's very cool.
It works so fucking good, man. And it's kind of stupid. Like I was watching it, I was playing and then I was, showing my wife about it. And I said, the coolest thing about it, and this might sound really dumb, is just how awesome it makes your like replays look, because you're driving a car like you drive a car. So you're doing those slight turns around corners. You're doing those hard turns around corners.
Right.
And, I mean, if you're a racer like I am, when you race with the sticks, you're kind of like tap, 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 you're not slowly holding that thing in place. So you see the car just kind of like irking to the right, going around the corner in a demo or in a replay when you're done, versus when you're playing with the DualSense like this, it's like literally like you're easing that corner, or you're taking it hard through a drift, and it just looks so much nicer because these games are like super like tight on the controls and stuff. So when you're just tapping that stick a little, it's like it looks janky in a replay because you're steering your tires are just going tick, 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 So
it sounds dope.
It's awesome. And
the sticks have been sticks have been a disconnect for me in racing games because they're pretty fun, but for whatever reason, it takes it takes me a hot minute to calibrate my hands to like adjust correctly and learn
Yeah.
how the car is going to behave with the joystick. This sounds a lot more intuitive.
Yeah, absolutely. And the way I did it to start with, I kind of played with the DualSense, moved controls around. Like if I was using it as a steering wheel, I would put the gas at the X button. And then if I was using it as the sticks, I would put the gas at the trigger. Just I wanted to kind of mix it up. I
Okay.
wanted to see what it felt like. I didn't want to just jump in there and just do it the way they said to. I have to say, like, the triggers feel great with gas and brake first off, because they feel like an actual gas pedal and they feel like an actual brake pedal. And you can feel like pulsations through it, depending on which, speed you're stopping at. And
I do like that. Yeah.
So like, I mean, if you're really hammering the brake, you can feel like a rotor is warped, you know what I mean? Like that sort
like
of
an
thing.
ABS sensor sort of
Yeah,
thing.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So you get those differences, which is fantastic. And then, that tension that's on that DualSense is great for the driving with the gas and everything. And I feel like that combo with steering is just really good. Like it feels really good. Like your hands holding on real well. I also did like, putting, my gas at X and my brake at square and using my clutch up and clutch down as my left trigger and right trigger. I liked that too. So I did find a couple of different options that I felt were great. They kind of change the feel of how you're driving. So if you don't want the DualSense functionality as much, you're not going to get it when you put them on the clutches for your triggers. Like there's not really a big difference there. However, you can feel if you are clutching through with X and square, you can feel the clutch differences in the triggers too, when you're like gassing it versus not gassing it and stuff. So they thought this shit through. There's a lot of differentials, that you can plug in and just see a difference in the controller, which is kind of cool.
Really, really cool. I'm not usually one for racing games, but that sounds dope.
No, it's very, very cool. By far the best looking video game in history. Like no shit. Like this game, in my opinion, is photorealistic television. You're watching a race right here and there.
More than Forza?
Yes, hands down.
Are you hands down? You're sure?
Yes,
because Forza is gorgeous.
Oh, this game, this game's a simulation, so everything is done to a T. Like I have gone into the photo mode and zoomed in on lug nuts, and the lug nuts have ray tracing reflections in them. So, this thing is insanely stupid how good it looks.
Holy cow.
I even went as far in, I got real picky and was like looking at the crowd and stuff. The crowd's just 3D and whatnot, but even like the fences and the concrete, and you can see the difference on when they've painted on the concrete for the lines and when they haven't. And it's not just like they laid a line on top of the concrete. It's like the concrete is painted and it has a different sheen to it and everything. It's insane.
Whoa.
Insane. I picked the visuals apart for this game. Like the first hour I played, I just watched replays and just went back in over and over and just looked at different things on the cars. The only thing is, since it is hardcore simulation and they, have pretty cars, they don't have like 1-to-1 damage modeling on these things. Gran Turismo has never had that though. This is a simulation driver. It's not a like, hey, let's go into a demo derby. It's not like that.
Sure.
So it will scuff the car up. I did go out and fuck a car up a couple times because I wanted to see what would happen. Yeah. And it scuffs the paint and it puts dents and dings and things like that, but it does not do anything that would be considered realistic. So the damage is not simulated. Let's put it that way. But everything else in the game is. And yes, hands down, unless Forza 7 comes out and does something magical, this hands down the best. Any video game, like nothing can beat how good this video game looks. Nothing.
Damn.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's a hell of a compliment because everyone lost their shit over Forza.
Yeah. And Horizon looks great.
Us. Yeah.
Yeah. Horizon's amazing. And then when they put out, the motorsport, I'm sure it's going to look fantastic too. So we'll see what happens. I love racing games, and this will be my first year that I can, hopefully, with Forza comes out this year, but we'll see that I can kind of 1-to-1 compare the two, because GT7, it blew my skirt up. I wanted it. And then, I got lucky with a friend here, but I was buying this game either way. I already made the tweets about it. I'm like, this is mine,
Yeah.
And I'm definitely going to be playing Forza because I'm a Game Pass subscriber. So why the hell not? But
Hell yeah, man.
I'm going to compare these for sure on an episode and just have a great time doing that because I'm pretty excited. It is fantastic. So the crap part of the news, and we'll get to this real quick on the news. I added this last minute, so it's not on the doc, but there's a big like hubbub going on with the microtransactions in Gran Turismo 7.
Okay.
And maybe I don't know all of it or something, but people are calling it egregious and that they're hiding things and all this kind of stuff. It's like they're basically nobody's happy that the fact that stuff costs so much in the game with either physical money or the money you earn in the game.
Oh, the in-game currency.
Not happy with it. And I kind of get it, but at the same time, it doesn't bother me. Like, I mean, the game is there. I can do everything I want in the game, and I can go in and edit the cars and do things to the cars to a limit. And if I want, I can just go grind it out, just like everybody's talking about everything else. Go grind the Elden Ring until you're level 75 to beat a guy. Nobody's complaining about that. But I feel like if people would complain if they said, okay, you want to be a level 75 character in Elden Ring, well, it's going to cost you $10 up front, or you got to go play it for 60 hours.
Yeah.
I think that's what's happening here with the Gran Turismo deal. Like I said, I don't have every bit of news on this or anything, but everybody is kind of got their panties in a bunch that Sony's hiding things and that they're not, telling everybody the truth and I'm like, I don't get it. Like, it's expensive. You don't like that it's expensive. You don't like that there's microtransactions to buy cars that aren't in the game. That's in anything like that. That's what microtransactions are. Like,
sure.
I'm about 2 hours that I have tracked so far in GT7, and it's worth $70 to me, $60-$70 to me. It's worth it. You can tell they put the effort into it. It looks phenomenal. It plays great. And it's interesting. Like, I mean, it's just, overall, it's going to be amazing. And I feel like it is. I mean, best looking game I've ever played. So, I mean, clearly that means something to me. But I guess I just don't quite understand why everybody's so upset, in particular about the microtransactions in this game.
Is it as egregious as Halo's microtransactions? Is it $20 for a pineapple bad?
Not from what I can find out. I have not even bothered to go to microtransactions because I don't care. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to play the game the way they are.
Valid. Yeah.
But like, I'm looking it up here as we talk a little bit, and it looks like they're saying here that and they're comparing this to GT Sport, it seems like. So the cars that could be bought on their own maxed out at $499. And it says by comparison, GT7 only lets players buy an in-game currency that can then be traded for cars. It says, for instance, if you wanted to buy a car in Gran Turismo 7 that costs $3 million credit, you'd have to drop roughly $40 into the game by purchasing $2 million credits, and then at that retail of $19.99 each. So essentially, you're going to spend $40 to get your car. That's what they're saying.
That is pricey.
So yeah,
$40 for a car is very expensive.
Do not disagree with that, but you don't have to. I know it sucks, but this is reading this. This is equal to how ridiculous it was for Halo, no doubt.
Gotcha.
No doubt. I mean, yeah, $10 for a pineapple, I believe it was, is absolutely spot on, correct.
It was something silly like that, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't see them hiding anything, though. I don't know what everybody's talking about with them hiding stuff. I mean, I've been reading just like blurbs here and there about like Sony's doing this on purpose and everything, but it's like, okay, it doesn't seem like that to me.
Now, I mean, I think maybe a difference between what Halo has done and what Gran Turismo is doing is that Halo is aesthetics. Is it outrageously expensive, small aesthetics? Absolutely. But it seems like Gran Turismo is putting like playable content behind expensive paywalls in the form of like other cars, which is like, most of the game. So I kind of want to know on that difference a little bit, to where it's not just aesthetic choices. Like if they were hiding or putting like crazy wraps or like wheels or something behind a paywall, that stuff, that kind of stuff doesn't really bother me. I'm not sure this bothers me too terribly much because especially since there's in-game currency you can earn and it is eventually achievable. But
That's exactly what it says.
Yeah. But there is a gameplay, like an actual gameplay element in there that's behind a bit of a paywall, and that is kind of a bummer.
Possibly. It does not even talk about that. And I haven't, been that far in the game yet. But I mean, it states that it would just take hours to do so in game versus spending real money. That is no different than a mobile game, in my opinion. Like, it sucks.
Yeah.
Yes, it does suck. It sucks. It's expensive. But at the same time, it's like, if you really want something, just go do it. You know what I don't like about Forza Horizon? I don't like the fact that if I wanted a DeLorean, I had to do these so many, certain daily challenges and then so many certain weekly challenges and in-game challenges that took me out of the gameplay experience. I didn't want to do those things. I just wanted the car.
Right.
So let me race to the point where I can get the stuff and then I can unlock it.
Yeah,
So
I mean, it's not
similar, but it's just one costs money and one only costs time, but forced you to play differently. Yeah. It's similar. So anyway, that's kind of my little bit of gist on that. I don't think it's egregious and all this other stuff that everybody's saying. It's like unforgivable. And, it's like, that's just business now. Like, I don't think it's going anywhere. And it's not like they're robbing you, they're not like taking away the game and forcing you to do this. It's just play the game. I know for a fact, I know guys that put hundreds of hours in Gran Turismo, hundreds over, the last 20 years that I have played some of the genre, not genres, but, some of the generations of the game. And they weren't complaining then that it took 100 hours to unlock I can't remember what the one vehicle was, but it was like a GT, like 7AR5, some ridiculous car. And it was super fast. I mean, the thing went like 300 miles an hour. It's like, but they spent all that time on a PS2 unlocking it. And
yeah,
it's just stupid stuff like that. I guess that maybe I don't understand it.
Yeah. I wonder if it would be a different reaction if they were labeled as unlockable cars versus like, hey, you can pay to get here sooner.
Mm-hmm.
Because like unlockables and stuff for that kind of game is not weird. Like Super Smash Bros. You have to play and do things to unlock certain characters. And I know racing games in the past have had unlockable cars that way, like through gameplay or challenges or something like that. Mm-hmm. So I wondered if there wasn't the pay scale there, like if people would be mad about it, but because they're allowing you to pay to get there faster, people just assume it's just an unavoidable paywall.
Yeah, is probably a lot of assumption going on there, I would imagine, because I can't imagine all these people complaining about it have actually bought the game and played the game hundreds of hours. It's been out 5 days or something. So, yeah. I mean, maybe if they played it every day, all day for the last 5 days, they'd hit over 100 hours. But so yeah, anyway, I want to mention that before we get on to news, and then we'll get on to our news here shortly. All right. Well, we are going to get into some news now. The one I have down first is Grand Theft Auto 5 Next Gen pricing has been announced. You know what? Maybe I am just super minority when it comes to stuff, but I mean, clearly I don't have a huge problem with Gran Turismo and all these other things. Mm-hmm. Neither one of us had a problem with Horizon having the $10 bump for a PS5 version versus a 4. Yeah. Everybody's saying that Sony's crooks, have all this kind of stuff going on. And you know what? I don't care that Grand Theft Auto 5 is going to charge me for their next gen version of the game. And to be honest with you, I think they're doing the right thing here in multiple different ways, because if you pick it up on the Xbox and you already own it, you can get it for 50% off. So they're going to make the game $20 for those customers. And if you pick it up on the PS5 and you already own it, you're going to get it for 75% off. So it's essentially the same sort of thing that was going on with Horizon, right?
Yeah, especially for PlayStation, it's $10 to upgrade.
$10. Like,
I don't think that's that big of a deal. Especially if they include DualSense capabilities. You're getting a massive visual update. The game looks gorgeous from the screenshots I've seen. It's not a light upgrade.
No, it's not.
$10 is that all that, egregious.
Agreed. I do not either. And you just said, you're not getting a light upgrade. they are doing 3 different versions of performance for this game, which is very cool. Most are only giving you 2. Most games give you 2. A lot of them, you only get 1, just depending as well. So they're doing an option where they're going to have a hybrid version where you're going to be able to run a 60 frames per second at a upscaled 4K. That's fantastic.
Okay. Yeah.
They're doing a strict performance one where you can run at 1080, 60 frames per second. And then they're doing another one where you can drop it to 30 frames per second and get ray tracing fidelity and everything. By the way, the ray tracing one also is in that hybrid model that they have there that they're doing. So they're going to get ray tracing upscaled 4K with 60 frames per second. I'm your guy. That I'm down for that.
60 frames per second is like so smooth. It's so much better than the 30.
Oh man.
I mean, it makes a difference.
Now, a question for you. So before next gen, would you have ever said that?
I don't know that I would have. Honestly, I do not know. My laptop is still pretty decent, but I have not done a ton of PC gaming in years since I really got back into console gaming. I'm not sure. But when you have it, it's noticeable.
Yeah.
It's very noticeable. Like when I went back and I played Horizon Zero Dawn when the visual update for it came out, I noticed myself making slightly better shots because I had a smoother time period to do it. Everything felt more fluid. So I 60 frames is the shit.
It is. I think it's worth it. I think it's totally worth it. I can say honestly, if it wasn't for next gen, I'd still be like 30 frames is great. I'm good with 30 because I've lived in that world for how long, right?
Right.
Our whole lives almost. But yeah, I can't go back, man. Like I really, really can't. So I'm really, really thankful for these game studios and developers putting out these hybrids because I kind of want the best bang for my buck. And I'm totally cool with an upscaled 4K because that's what God of War did. That's what the Horizon Zero Dawn update did. I mean, they do a checkerboard upgraded 4K resolution and it looks phenomenal. So it's nothing to slouch at. So I would have been a 30 frames per second guy. I won't go back. I have tried. I mentioned that on the show before. I did go to the Series S when my Halo was acting stupid and my Xbox Series X died on me. And I played on my son's Series S at 30 and his TV's 30. Let me just clarify that.
Okay.
It hurt my eyeballs. So, and my brain a little bit. So I can't do it either, man. So yep. I can own up to that one. But I think it's great, man. $10 for PS5. You're going to get the whole game. That also includes GTA Online, which they're going to make a standalone version of now. So they're doing what they did with Ghost Legends. They're separating it off. You want to play online only and you don't care about campaign, you got a thing out there. It's going to be $20 if you don't pick it up at the beginning. If you pick it up on day one, and I think they're doing a 3-month gap. You have 3 months. It's free. Like you don't pay for it.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah. So you pick up the game, you get the GTA Online included. After that, it's a split deal, and they're reflecting the price that way too. Let's be honest here.
Okay.
They are reflecting the game campaign, $39.99, and then obviously you want the online. It's going to be $20. That's a $60 title. That's how they're doing it. They're saying, hey, you know what? I've asked for this for a long time. Honestly, it's been in conversations with good friends of mine. You and I have probably had this conversation where piecemeal me what I want. Like, give me the multiplayer as an option if I only want the multiplayer. Like, I would do that for a Call of Duty. I like the Call of Duty story, but I'm not a Call of Duty multiplayer fan. I like to play the stories. So give me piecemeal it out. Give me a $30 story and a $30 campaign. I'm good with that. So I like this whole setup. I'm a big fan of it. And I'm not going to complain about $10 or even $20 if you have an Xbox. I don't know why they're different. I really don't. It's obviously some exclusivity that Sony has probably said, hey, listen, do this. But you're saving more money and you're getting a DualSense functionality that you won't get on the Xbox. And I'm a purveyor, and I've said this already on our show enough. If it's on a DualSense option, PlayStation 5, I'm going to pick it over the Xbox every single time.
That DualSense is dope.
It is. I mean, I've already spoken enough about what it does in GT7, man. I can't wait to play some GTA and just see what it does there as well. I'm excited for it.
Hell yeah.
What do you got for some news, man?
Yeah, nothing too crazy except Blizzard's doing a mobile World of Warcraft game.
Yeah, I read up
Potentially.
on this when
I
I.
like, but why? Like,
Why?
before we really get into it, but why? Like, if you remember a few years ago when the ever like undying meme of "Do you guys got phones?" for the Diablo conference at
Yeah,
BlizzCon,
yeah.
and everyone's dead silent. And it was the most awkward thing I've ever seen in a presentation. And they announced like a mobile Diablo, which it's whatever, I guess. Diablo Immortal looks okay. I'm not really a heavy mobile game player.
Yeah.
So even though I adore Diablo and it's one of, if not my longest playing franchise for me personally, I don't think I'll play Immortal because it looks like Diablo 3 light. And I've had my fill of Diablo 3 as much as I loved it.
Okay.
But it was an overwhelmingly negative reception for Diablo Immortal.
I
Nobody
remember
wanted
this.
any part of it. Like, and I think a lot of it was probably pretty heavily biased towards like, we have a big new Diablo project coming out. You guys are gonna love it. You're gonna be excited. And everyone's like, "Oh, Diablo 4, let's go!" And it was not. And it was the opposite. And it was a huge disappointment. And I think coupled that with their audience probably really doesn't care about mobile gaming. So this one confuses me. This is a confusing choice. I know there's a lot of money out there in mobile games, and maybe that's what they're targeting. And I think in this article it mentions like maybe it'll pair with the new expansion coming out really soon too. And if it pairs with the new expansion and it's got some integrations there, it's okay. That's better. That's better, and I hope it does. But
You know what I feel like this is, man? Like if I had to really put a reason on it, um, I would say that this is like the intro drug to full WoW. Like, I mean, what I mean by that
oh,
is
you
it's
think it's
like,
a way to pull new players?
yeah, man, because I feel like
Okay,
if
all
they can
right.
put, like you just mentioned, Diablo Light, okay,
Yeah.
that's not a bad idea for somebody who say, and I always think this way, and I'm sure all of our audience is like, here we go with Nick again. But I have a son. So if I'm super into something that is more advanced than him, but I can give him a version of what I want him to play later with me,
Okay.
I could give him this and be like, hey, man, this is going to give you the ropes, like show you what you need to do and get the skills built up you're going to need in a casual way that then you can roll into this. You know, it's like your entry drug, you know, that's the way I'm looking at it. And maybe it won't be, maybe it'll be like a side app that you can do, which is this is what I read about is people help me out, man, because I don't play WoW at all. But
I don't
apparently,
either.
okay, so either one of us, I cannot tell you what this particular feature of the game is, but there's something that you can do in the games that's just simplified more so than needing a whole mouse and keyboard. And it had something to do with like basically going into like caverns and like just doing smaller battles and things like this.
Okay. Okay.
That's what people were talking about, that this could be actually fulfilling a need of. So if you're out and about, you can still go in and grind and loot on the app on the phone and play this part of the game. So then you come
Okay.
home to your PC, sit down, and you've attained all this loot on your day out or
Oh,
weekend out or whatever.
way cooler than what Diablo Immortal I think is going to be. Yeah.
Agreed,
If
because
you can,
Diablo Immortal sounds like it
yeah.
wants to be Diablo on a phone.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
here, most
That's
people, I mean, this
okay.
is all speculation, but
That's where the integration comes in. And some WoW players are like hardcore. Like people have been playing this game for almost a couple decades. Like I
yeah,
think it's going on like 17, 18 years now. And man, people have been paying that subscription every month.
yeah. Getting
And if they
married there, you
can
know,
yeah.
getting married in
Yeah,
WoW. It's
you're not
true.
wrong. You're not wrong. Yeah, so if it integrates with the game like that, way cool. That's actually pretty neat. And if you're an avid player and you know you're just on the go too much to really get your time you think out of it, this helps you get your like more your money's worth. Or
Yeah.
maybe it'll cost a little bit extra, but maybe it's worth it. So like now you can play on your lunch break and you can loot some things and now you can buff your character, or or you have a regular party, but you don't have the time to like level to whatever level cap it is now. But I know it takes an astronomical amount of time to get to max level. Now you can slowly build another character over time and then join in. You're like, guys, I have this new support. Let's go. Instead of like, all right, we got to level Bob again.
Right.
We can't do the stuff. We can't go to those ultra high rates for the good loot.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll work like that. I know a lot of the details are fuzzy at the moment because I don't think they've done any official reveals just yet, but I was a little confused, but I'm glad you kind of brought that perspective in, because if it integrates like that, I think it's going to be a much better option.
Yeah, I think so too. The only other thought I had was thinking as a WoW person, if I've been playing for 20 years, I'm super hardcore, I'm PC only, I probably own one console maybe or none, but I'm super hardcore. I'm super that side of the field. And Blizzard's like, you know what? We don't have anybody on the other side of the field on our team playing these games. Let's give them something they can play. And they're kind of separating the two. They're like making two complete different games. And they have something that's kind of like I was saying earlier, it's just a tamer version of WoW, but still equals that entry drug where it's just like, hey, you know what? Here's a taste. And then that person who's, let's say 10 right now, in 10 years is like playing full on WoW, and they're growing both communities. I mean, that's just kind of where I was thinking too. We'll see. It could be cool. I think it will be a hard sell if it's money. Like if it costs money to play it on a mobile, that's going to be real tough. And so we'll see where it goes.
WoW has always been a subscription service. How it took off when it did, because back in 2005 was it when it launched? It's somewhere in the 2000s. Is I thought people were insane for paying $15 a month, because back then you could buy a game for $60 and you'd have it forever. I'm like, this is stupid. Why would I pay $15 a month for anything? But subscription services are like all the rage now. So now in retrospect, it's not so dumb.
Yeah. 2004, by the way.
Oof. Yeah. $15 a month then. If it adds to the subscription, like if it's also in like, I don't know what WoW costs now, but say if it's 20% higher, I think you're right. I think it's gonna be a hard sell. I think if it comes out with the expansion, people pay for the expansion, and you can use this as a part of that payment, and it's included. Not so bad, but I think you're nail on the head there.
Yeah, it's $15 a month still, and it can be
holy shit.
You can buy it in a lump sum at 6 months at a time and get it for $13 a month. So it's the cheapest you can do it from what I'm seeing.
Okay.
So yeah, you can get it down a little bit, but you really got to be a hardcore fan. But yeah, if they put it on mobile, they better have they better do something like level cap it to where like you can play for free to like level 30 or 50 or however, a good amount of time is, get you kind of hooked, and then have you jump
content. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if they did something like that, I could see people attending it more. I mean, they could even go something like Genshin Impact and have a game like that is just completely free, but has microtransactions built into it that they're going to make all their money off of there. Which we know mobile games kind of lean that way anyhow, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty heavily. All right. Well, that is some news. We're going to get on to the topic of the show. Let's talk some most anticipated games. I am ready to talk about this here. So there is one I forgot in our big one that I should have brought up, and I just want to talk about it. Before we do that real quick, though, we're going to talk. The Loud Crowd had at least one Pin Tones. He's our boy over there. He's helping keep the Discord going. We like him a lot. He's awesome.
Pretty active. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, we like the activeness. It's good stuff. He shot in his answer, what he was most anticipated for this coming year, and that is going to be the Lego Star Wars Skywalker saga.
Okay.
That sumbitch has 9 games in it. It's all 9 movies.
Holy shit.
And they're doing they're doing DLC for Rogue One and The Mandalorian, which is badass. So props to those guys to keep it even going further. Yeah, that's awesome.
All right.
Yeah, he's been a fan since PS2 when he played the originals. So he's ready to go back in and dive in again. So he is the customer, it sounds like, for these guys, which is very cool.
Enjoy that nostalgia, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a good time with that. Definitely love to hear what you think about it at the time. That's not one I'm sure I'll play. I wish my kids were more into Star Wars, but they're not. But that's okay. All right. Well, we're going to get into our picks. Thanks again, One Pin Tones, for tuning in and saying hey. We appreciate that. So, you know what, Josh? I'm just going to start with mine because I'm pretty fucking excited because I
Go
can't believe
for
I
it.
forgot this game, dude. Um, Hogwarts Legacy, man. Like the Harry Potter saga is continuing without Harry and the gang. You're just kind of going back and
Oh,
a
thank God. It
long
needed
ass
it.
time. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I love the movies. I love the whole world. I've been to the theme park a few times. We've enjoyed ourselves every time. But this is actually a series of movies that my whole family likes, and we do sit down and watch it almost yearly. Like I would say
Okay.
I can honestly say, yeah, 2019. I don't know about 2021. That was kind of a crazy year. But 2019 to 2020, we watched all of them because 2019 was the first year where my son had watched them all. My daughter kind of watched a little bit, obviously, but she was younger. And
Hmm.
no, we skipped 2020, and then it was 2021. We watched them all, so my daughter could see them all. So she's seen them all as well. So I've definitely been keeping up with the Harry Potter in the family and with watching of the movies. We do love them around here. But I forgot about this game and the sheer fact that it has so much potential is pretty cool. And it has me really excited because I love the world of Harry Potter overall. But what I love the idea of is being able to just be somebody completely new in the world and having a whole new world around me too, because it's all takes place
Yeah.
far long ago. And it's supposed to be an open world RPG, that type of gameplay elements going on. And we've been talking a lot about Horizon and, several other games as well. And we do talk RPGs on here quite a bit. At least action RPGs are kind of our thing.
Yeah.
But, they have skill trees in
Hmm.
Horizon now, right?
Oh, love it. I
And
love
they're
me a skill tree.
fantastic, man. I
Oh, they're so
absolutely.
good. So good.
I can only imagine with as many spells and abilities you can do with a Harry Potter game and the variations of being either evil or good. I mean, you have the option. You can be a Death
Okay.
Eater I want that to be an option, man. That would be badass. They haven't
That'd be
talked a
dope.
lot about
Yeah.
this. It's just they're keeping everything under wraps. And I was really hoping to hear some about this on the State of Play today because there was rumors that more details were going to be coming as soon as this week. So maybe even after we record this, we might get a little bit of information as well to kind of hype me up a little bit more.
Yeah, let's hope.
But man, I think a Harry Potter game with skill trees, open action RPG elements, four different houses that you can have in the Harry Potter worlds because you're going to have the Hufflepuffs, the Ravenclaws, the Slytherins, and then you'll have the big dogs, the Gryffindors.
Yeah.
So it's it's just full. It's just right with all of this. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
has all of the elements there. So it at the same time, I am a little worried that they'll stumble on something and I won't put something together right, or they'll rush
Mm,
something. Now they have delayed it twice, so that's a good sign to where
it
they're
is.
they're
Yeah.
putting the right thing into it. But I just can't think of a better like licensed, you know, I don't know, brand, I guess. I mean, Harry Potter's sort of a brand now, but I just can't think of a better licensed
Yeah.
thing to put into a world like this. It seems so fitting. Only thing better would make any sort of co-op or multiplayer, if they could.
Right. And it looks like WB is going to publish it, and they published Shadow of Mordor, which is another parallel, like, huge
Yeah.
franchise game. So, honestly, like, I'm not a big Harry Potter guy. If I saw this during State of Play, I would probably just fast forward through it because just zero interest. This doesn't really appeal to me. But WB's got my attention a little because they Shadow of Mordor was dope. It is
Hell
dope.
yeah.
Shadow of War is very cool. I still need to go back to it. That's a
Yeah.
hefty game to get distracted with. It's very easily to get sidetracked with building your own orc army. Also very fun, very cool. Um, so I think if anyone's gonna like do it and do it like more like realism and grittier and stuff, WB is kind of a good place to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think they're going to have, all of the people in place that can make it there because yeah, what you're saying about Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War is they know what they're doing, when it comes to making a title based off of Lord of the Rings. So, I mean, we're just going into sort of a little younger version of that, with more magic. Lord of the Rings had less magic in it than Harry Potter for sure. But man, it's just, I can't believe I missed this on the last episode when we did our most anticipated for 2022. But the more I got to thinking about it, it's just and I'm going to keep repeating it, but the fact that there's so many different things that you could do in this, it's just so ready to be an RPG video game because of all the choices you can make, even in the movies and stuff, which if you're not familiar or people listening, I mean, like, Harry had the ability to be good or evil. Like there was a big thing about that in the books and the movies, whether he was actually a good or bad guy, what's going on. And, certain teachers and, he was good at certain spells versus others. Like he was bad at others. And, Ron was good at spells that Harry wasn't good at. And Hermione was good at stuff that, and you know what? She wasn't great at everything. There were things that Harry could do that she couldn't do as good, with potions and things like that. I mean, that's it's so much. I mean, there's potions, there's spells, there's, all the flying on the broomsticks and stuff that could get pretty cool, I think, because there's some pretty hectic moments in the movies and stuff where that happens too.
Yeah.
So there's just so much out there in this world that they could just give to us to have fun with. And I would love it if they just kind of gave us a little bit at the beginning and then just continued to grow the game. Like a lot of games are doing this. Like, I don't want to do a games as a service like we've talked about on the show enough, but to do something where they give us, the 4 houses and we start off in that area. And then all of a sudden now, like we can go a year from now after we've been in the game for a while and we're playing through a castle. Now we can move into another land, because there were schools that visited, Hogwarts as well. So you could go to another school and be part of that school or grow your character into a teacher and be a teacher and, that kind of stuff. I think that would be amazing. There's just so much potential here in this particular game that it was just hard for me not to choose it because I think it could build a franchise of games as well. No doubt.
You could. As long as they don't try to be the movies. Have to do what Shadow of Mordor did, its series did, and just be its own thing. Yes, it is in the Lord of the Rings universe, but that's the only commonality. I mean, it's a pretty big one, but had zero ties to what, all the hobbits doing with the ring or anything else. It's got to be exactly that. I don't want to hear, unless it's like in the future and Harry Potter is now like a legend, a figurehead, somebody who used to be here or someone famous there. That's where the connection needs to stop.
Yeah, this one takes place even before Harry was born. So this is a prequel. Yeah. So this will be great.
Even better. Yes.
Yeah, no chance of him showing up.
Okay. I'm gonna say maybe he could be a teacher, a professor. That might be pretty cool, but this is even better.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, Lord of the Rings, they did have like a little bit of Gollum rollover that happened. So you had Gollum as kind of the constant through everything. That was it.
True.
They did have a couple things that did tie it together more than just the title of it, but nothing crazy. Nothing where you were like your brain's always thinking of Frodo and Sam and the ring. It's just totally oh, okay. I'm in this world. That's where I want to live. That's where I want to play. That's where I want to be. And this would be one for me that I would absolutely love if they had a multiplayer. That'd be the last thing I really hope if they did, even just an online co-op where if it was, console to console or something. Sure. I think that'd be really fun. Or something else, man, that I thought of that I think would be badass is if they had duels. Okay. And duels get made fun of a lot in the Harry Potter, but
they gotta have it, dude.
If they could have duels, if PvP, me and you could duel each other. Yeah. PvP, a duel, like, 3 on 3 wizards, like a Destiny vibe or something, because, there were always 3 with, Ron, Harry, and Hermione. And if they did 3 versus 3 sort of stuff going on, or even if you could, do PvE and go in together as a team of 3 co-op, students through the world and that kind of deal. But a wand duels would be so fun as just kind of a side shoot type of game in this.
Yeah, like extras. Like you can learn their spell that they're trying to like actively kill you with. If you beat them and stuff. That would be dope. That would be hella fun.
Yeah, you could have like better loadouts or something to where your loadout is good against somebody with this certain ability, and then you could learn your opponent's, loadout as you're playing, and you know
Uh-huh.
what to take them on with and make, either longer or better, battles or fights or something like that would be really neat as
Yeah.
well. But I'm really, really pumped for this RPG elements and stuff. That the Horizon with all of the skill trees really, really relates into something like this for me in my mind, because you can have a
Yeah.
potion skill tree, and you could have, your wand, spells skill tree, and you could have like your
Yeah.
physical and your flying and your teaching, and like you could have all this, your
Yeah.
books, your reading, your
You
knowledge,
could
whatever.
yeah, it could get like real witchery pretty quick, and that
Yep.
would
Yep.
be pretty awesome.
Hell
And
yeah.
that's not like any sort of copycat thing. Like it'd be awesome if they took that open world approach.
I would love that, man. That would be. I didn't think of The Witcher, because I mean, The Witcher is so far the other direction of Harry Potter. I mean,
It's
this.
magic light versus magic dominant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. As far as content goes, too, The Witcher is real heavy mature, but
Yeah.
that fits perfectly. That would be an amazing thing. I just know that the CG trailer that they put out of this thing drew me in. I watched it a few more times before, deciding on what I wanted to go for my most anticipated, and I was like, damn, this still gets me pumped. So
Yeah. Man, the artwork
that's got
looks
to be mine.
cool.
That's got
Yeah.
to be mine.
I think I went with a little bit of kind of a different one. I took another look at Tunic,
Oh,
and
okay.
that game looks, for one, that little fox guy is cute as shit. But I watched a gameplay trailer, and it just looks like the most relaxing little Zelda you've ever seen. Like that's the kind of game, like we were talking earlier. Like when I get my ass kicked in Elden Ring, I'll go play Tunic. You
Yeah.
know, like the music is really good. It's got like a really like minimalistic like sound design. So and everything, all the sounds are really nice. The art style is really good. It seems like the areas have a good layout to them. And it seems like it's going to have a pretty good progression. You start with a stick,
All
and you go
that.
and you
Yep.
beat stuff up, and then eventually make your way to your sword, and I assume make your way to your shield or whatever abilities. But it starts you off with a dodge, and some places you can go, some you can't, some you can come back to once you've learned that you've unlocked that area. So it's got kind of like a real Metroid kind of thing going on with that. It just seems like a real relaxing kind of game. It with the dodge seemed quick enough that some stuff is coming. Otherwise, I wouldn't give you that faster reaction times.
Yeah.
Um, the enemies on screen look pretty good. The art style is real solid, really consistent throughout. And yeah, man, just a cute little Zelda game that just seems like it's just going to be a nice time. Doesn't seem it's going to be overly punishing. Obviously, some heavy influences from Zelda. It's got a real like Zelda 1 and 2 Link art style kind of vibe to him,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is also very cool, very nostalgic for me too. Even though those games predate me. Um, but yeah, man, it looks really nice, like really relaxing. It doesn't seem like anything overly complicated. It won't be near to the scale of Hogwarts Legacy.
Oh
Um,
no, this is very simplistic. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and like it's been a minute since I've gotten kind of excited about an indie game, and like as I was watching it, and like, man, this music is just nice. Like you're not in a hurry. You're just going around. You're looking where you need to be. You're fighting stuff as needed, and it seems like a neat little puzzler too.
Yeah. And I didn't watch the whole 8-minute demo. I did see. I watched 2 or 3 minutes of it, but it didn't seem like there was a lot of like change to the overall feel of the game, which I kind of expected there to be something different, like musical wise or something when
Hmm.
you get into a battle or something like that. It still seemed like really chill music, even when you were in a battle. Maybe I missed it and it came later or something, but
That checks out. Yeah,
it was
I
still just
remember
kind of
that.
like, yeah, I'm just going to fight this thing and just kind of chill out. I mean,
Yeah,
it,
and
it still looks challenging. But yeah, I just thought, oh man, I figured I'd ramp it up a little bit and give you a different tune or something, but it just kind of kept that same overall feel the whole time.
and it might when you get into like a boss, and I'm sure there'll be other environments.
I hope it does, honestly,
Yeah,
because I'm like, you know what? I think it could use that
that'd be
probably.
too much of a disconnect. If it didn't have different music for a boss, then that I feel like that's a misstep and an oversight.
Right. And this is getting a lot of props. So, and I know it's coming out in like a week. So I think the week that this would air, I think it's releasing. So you don't have to anticipate for too long.
I guess I didn't realize it was that soon. I knew it was soon. I didn't realize it was that soon. Damn, I still got other shit to play. So I'll be anticipating for a little bit longer than it's out.
Right. That's okay. I'll give you a good chance to see how it overall is taken. I think it'll be taken well, though. I really do.
It looks pretty polished just from that demo. So I have some pretty good hopes for it.
Okay. Well, if that is it for our anticipated stuff, that might be the end of the show.
Forspoken got delayed.
Yeah, still this year though, at least.
But yeah, like you said earlier, like there's too much shit to play right now. like you said, one of my more anticipated games is coming out in a week. You know,
right?
So they're just both a blessing and a curse. A little sad it's delayed, but also like, oof, that bullet dodged. I don't have to feel like I have to play it right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And as good as that game looks, it'd be another one that I would just buy and be like, you know what, it's going to stay here. I'm going to own it. I'm just going to have it, pick it up when I want. But yeah, Forspoken is going to be a really good game. I'm excited for that one as well.
Full confidence is going to be great.
Yeah, I don't have too much of a swaying on that one. I'm pretty stood fast. That's going to be a good game that I'm already going to keep my $60 back for, or 60, maybe it's 70. I think that one might be a PS5 exclusive. I can't remember 100%, but yeah, it looks awesome. And by the way, I do have to mention, and we're talking Forspoken, in that trailer that I was talking about, where they finally showed some more gameplay here earlier at State of Play, the hair was amazing. So I feel so much better that they can eventually get the hair right, because I'm still not happy with Aloy's hair in Forbidden West. It's just too wonky. It does weird shit. I literally,
the hair physics are a little weird.
It is weird. It is weird. I got to say something real quick. We're on the topic of video game hair. So I was playing Horizon just yesterday, and I made it to a point in the map where I had to like talk. It was at your base. So I went to my base and I found something, and she stands and talks to herself. Right. Mm-hmm. And she kind of has her hands up at her mouth, and she's kind of, talking about, what this thing is and what it's meant, and tells a little story about it. And she looks just great. Like, I mean, looks awesome. And as soon as she took her hands away from her mouth, you just saw her hair all of a sudden start animating again. Like, it was like when she was talking, like they had a command that said, don't let the hair move. So she was like, a plastic doll. Like her hair was literally stuck completely stiff and straight. And then her hands just came down away from her face from when she was, done talking and, emoting and stuff. And her hair started kind of moving around again. And I'm like, that's not natural. It was better when her hair wasn't moving with her hands up to her face, because if I'm standing still, my hair's not going to be moving in an indoor building. So it was like, there's something weird there. I'm hoping they're fixing it. I know it's it's not a buggy mess. People have been calling it a buggy mess. It's just got bugs in it, and none of them have yet to break the game. There's some weird shit that I found that I have saved, but nothing's crazy.
I've had a couple glitchy things happen, but yeah, I mean, occasionally her hair does weird things. It's not even that consistent. Most of the time, it's like 95% of the time it's fine. But all of a sudden, like she looks another direction and like spazzes out like flew a bunch of wet noodles at the wall and just relaxes again. I'm like, that's weird, but whatever. Yeah, but it's not all the time. It's far from all the time.
Oh, it's not all the time. I'm going to act like it is all the time, but but the girl in Forspoken, her hair is straight, and Aloy's hair is more curly and crimped up and stuff, with her style or whatever. But I was blown away, because I think straight hair is harder to animate and make look right. And they made it look great. So there was actually some scenes where it showed her like jumping through the air, and her hair's not by any means short, but it was like flowing in the right directions. And this was all in-game stuff they were showing going on. It wasn't cutscenes or CG trailers. So I was happy with the way this game looks. I'm Frey Holland is the character's name in in Forspoken. And I think she's going to be a new fan favorite of mine. She's very cool, and she
looks dope.
She can move too, man. I'm pretty excited just to play that character. She's got some cool moves.
Yeah, can't wait to finally watch that state of play and see that trailer.
Yeah. You have to let us know. Post up on the Discord or something what you think about it, because we can get talking about that sometime.
Hell yeah.
Good stuff. All right. Well, I think that is going to be it for this episode. You got anything else, Josh?
Oh, man, I think we got it.
Hell yeah. Good stuff. Well, don't forget to join us next week, where we'll be talking about what's our favorite handheld systems. And I think we're going to throw a little bit in there about review bombing video games, because that's been happening quite often. I'd kind of like to talk about that and have kind of a subtopic on top of our favorite handhelds. That's it for this episode. My name's Nick, and that's Josh over there. Until next time, game on.
Volume up.
And stay loud. And we want to say thank you to all of our Patreon supporters out there. Caleb Lynch,
Brian Coger, and
SirsFurniture.com. All you guys are awesome. We appreciate all your support.
Yeah, guys, and keep that volume up.